Well, another successful night in Europe for Glasgow Rangers. I mean, we were close to winning it, but it was a really hard fought performance, and credit to the players where it's due, to be honest.
It blows me, for whatever reason. I don't know what it is about the Europa League, but it doesn't matter how we play, what our form's like. We could be getting battered like 5-0 week in, week out, and somehow we'll turn up in Europe and get a result or get a point or take something away for a really hard team away. And then, I mean, let's be honest, I'm confident we go to Ibrox. Now, as you said, like in the post match, like Benfica and them mugs, like this is a team that yes is in poor form, but they're full. That their squad's easily worth like 4, 5, 6 times more than ours.
Easily. I mean, they've got some star players in there, but see, at the end of the day, I think compared to us, their team seemed slightly fractured, you know, maybe too many big egos or whatever, and that's what I liked about our team tonight. Everybody was fighting for each other. There was a fight that we've not really seen in Rangers honestly since the last run in the Europa League, man. See that just grit and determination, putting your body in the line, and obviously a massive shout out to the star man of the night has got to be Jack Butland. I mean some of the saves he made tonight.
He had a couple of rocky bits where he flung the ball out to an opposition player. That was the one that led to the penalty.
But in terms of his shot stopping ability, unquestionably.
And to be fair, his distribution is usually spot on. Every keeper's going to have a bad, one or two bad kick-outs or throw-outs or stuff like that. So
but he certainly made up for it. I mean, the one where he does throw it to the Benfica boy, obviously he makes the mistake, but it's off of that attack that he makes a save with his feet that no many keepers I can see making. And obviously as the double save early on, he stops another few good shots, just all round. It's just Alan McGregor-esque, you know what I mean? Think back to how many times Alan McGregor in Europe especially, one-on-ones, like pulling off great saves, would keep us in the game, keep our hopes alive.
Well, the thing is, when we had that run to the final, like the goalkeeping was a massive part of it. Think how many opportunities we had to get knocked out of the tournament if it wasn't for us somehow always having a good shot stopper in goals. I can't mind the last time we've had a terrible, genuinely shocking keeper. I don't know if you can.
No, off the top of my head.
You know what I mean? Maybe the least.
No, we're normally producing or bringing in good goalkeepers, and you know we need them because, especially in nights like this, in the league, obviously it's less important. You're not going to be under the cosh as much. Like Butland is probably twiddling his thumbs 80% of the time, but in nights like this, that's when it really shows, because obviously week in week out you're not seeing Butland getting tested. Obviously we know he's capable, we know his capabilities, you know what I mean? But it's a night like this where he really shines, and he certainly done that tonight. But was there anything else that caught your eye about the game? Like, let's start with
Sterling.
Right, I was going to say let's start with the weak points, but let's start with points where we done well.
Sterling. I think I seen somebody describe Sterling on Twitter as a Swiss Army knife.
Oh, I mean, without a doubt. Well, you could put him anywhere. I reckon you could put him in goals if Butland get injured.
You probably could, but I think with a player he is, I looked towards the end of the game he was leggy, but so were players like Lundstrom. All of the players were leggy. It was some shift to put in, but Sterling, I would feel confident if any player dropped out the team that you could put him anywhere and he would do a job. At the very least he'd do a job.
Quite remarkable, and look, fair play to him. I'm actually really happy for him, to be honest, because a player of his calibre, the amount of energy he puts in on the park, and he just generally is a good player. He just needed to find a break. Obviously we signed him as a backup to Tab, but Tab's super consistent, doesn't really get injured, so Sterling could never really get into the team. But then we played him in the middle of the park, he looks like a player. We play him out in the wing, he looks like a player as well. Just an all round, like whoever said that, can he got it right with the Swiss Army knife?
It was spot on.
He can do anything.
But in terms of good points in general, I think other than the fact we look like a team, I think every player done pretty well, apart from a few shaky defensive moments. Still get problems between the two centre backs, which will go on to the negative points. But at the end of the day, like, if I said to us before the game, would you take a draw?
Yeah.
I said to you before the game, I says I would take being a goal down back to Ibrox, because Ibrox is a cauldron. Ibrox nights are.
It's different.
You're always going to fancy us. I don't care who we're playing, but to go into the more negative points, I think still we've got the defensive.
Just errors, just a bit.
Aye.
Obviously, we're not used to having the game be so open, and I think with Tav, he gets away with so much in the league. I mean, think about the amount of times in the league that you see Tavernier in the opposition box.
Aye.
You know, like drifting into the centre of the park, basically what you would call cheating. You know what I mean? Because Rangers are so high up the park, he's able to push forward. So is Ridvan. You're almost playing with two wingers.
The thing is, I think with a team like ours, I think that's the risk when you've got a fullback that scores so many goals, so many goal involvements. It's one of the things where no matter what manager comes in, and this is a thing I think Beale got wrong, so no matter what manager comes in, you're just going to have to expect that Tav, and trust that Tav can cover the gap that he leaves when he goes forward. I know a lot of players can rotate into space, but I think when you look back, the only one that kind of tried too much to cover that gap for Tav was Beale, because he had the likes of Cifuentes drop him out to right back, try to help. It just doesn't work. You've just got to trust his engine, you've got to trust them, and sometimes it works, sometimes he has bad games, but let's be honest, when Tav's in form.
And when worst comes to worst as well, obviously, like I'd rather that Goldson pulled over to fill in that gap. Obviously, it's no ideal, but it's better, I think, Goldson to shift across than pulling one of your centre mids back. Although there's time for both cases, you know what I mean. But I thought, and I would say this for this game, and I think it was the Kilmarnock game as well. I felt that Diamande was actually pretty quiet, never really got much done. Well, I know he's still finding his feet and he's just been thrown in at the deep end, but for me, very quiet. Obviously he's had a few good performances, scored a few goals, but he looks maybe a wee bit lightweight, a bit lost at times.
I think he's one of the players that kind of flies under the radar, and I think he's always a player that you don't realise it, how much a solid performance he's having.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, he almost kind of flies under the radar. Unless he's scoring a good goal, work off the ball, he's dragging players out of position.
Like Kamara in terms of covering blades of grass, but stuff that's...
He's one of the players where some folk would say, I'd want him to be more involved, I'd want to see him more, I want to see him in the highlights reel, and then you get the folk that kind of say, well, look at him off the ball, just watch him during any phase of play, what he's doing, like how he's scanning about the park. Like, to me, you'd love to see him take the limelight in the middle of the park. As Rangers fans, we've been used to seeing that, the likes of Stephen Davis, Barry Ferguson, folk that take the limelight and the control in the middle of the park. And I don't know if yet he's that kind of player, but I think that he definitely has that under the radar, just solid performance, like solid technical.
Certainly, I mean, it could just be that I'm missing particular aspects of his game. I'm not paying enough attention, like I say, because obviously I'm expecting that Lundstrom's going to be playing the deeper role, and Diamandi's going to be playing maybe that sort of playmaker role, getting involved with the offensive players, getting involved with the likes of Dessers and Silva and obviously Sterling, but just two people tonight that I thought were a bit quiet was just Diamandi and Dessers. Obviously we lacked possession the night, and Benfica controlled most of the game, so obviously you can't be expecting Dessers to be getting on too much of the ball when we're not on the front foot. But I mean, all in all, it's a magnificent result. Like we were talking about before the game, we weren't particularly nervous coming into this game, and I think it's just because obviously we had a slip up at the weekend, but how well we've been playing under Clement, and I think the night really cemented, although we didn't need it cemented, but the night cemented the fact that every single player, there's progress, but every single player, including the boys that come on off the bench, are playing for this manager. And that means a lot. And I used to think that was just a sort of phrase that people would throw out there, they're not playing for the manager. And I'm thinking, you go into the park and you play for yourself, but you can see there's they're certainly putting it out there for Plymouth, you know, so he's getting the most of them.
We've got a couple of tweets here, so we've got Hendy, who says game is definitely here for us to go and win and put ourselves in a good place. He's talking about this is during the game, he's sent this tweet. But fuck me, yet again making it so hard for ourselves, regardless of whether it's a pen or not. It comes for us making basic mistakes on the ball and rushing too many passes. However, what a response. So that would have been the penalty incident, and then the two, and then us managing to get a goal after it and have a response. First of all,
bit of a roller coaster when it hit that 45th minute. You know,
do you think that's a penalty?
I mean, well, you've seen my response during the game, so you tell me. I mean, I don't honestly. Let's spend less than a minute on this because we spoke about it the last podcast. The handball rule is a joke. We don't know what it is. How is it possible to even stop that from happening? Like it's literally impossible for John Souttar to stop that from happening. It's no deliberate. He jumps up for a header,
bounces off his head, hits his horn, which by the way in domestic football probably would not have been given a penalty. It wouldn't have, but in European football it would have. I've seen comparisons between the two. I've not got a clue.
I don't know, man. It's just frustrating. It really is frustrating because I understand, right? See if Di Maria's took a shot, right, and John Souttar's the last man on the line, and he dives like a goalkeeper and hands the ball and saves. Come on, he's jumped up for a header at the front post. His hands here, the ball's hit his head and half his hand. It's madness. There is no way that can happen, and it's not as if he's purposely trying to hand the ball. It's fucking just stupid, mate, honestly.
So Penacartel says, all things considered, that's a very good result. We were good for our lead, but tiredness absolutely caught up with us. Two really unlucky goals as well. A tie to be decided at Ibrox. That was the target.
Aye, that was the target. I mean, see when the draw get made, I was like, I'm so happy that the second leg's at Ibrox. Because if we can stay in at the first leg, take them back to Ibrox, then we know the sort of performances we can put in at Ibrox. The crowd behind the team, it's different at Ibrox. Now, that transfers to the players without a doubt. You know the atmosphere's going to be electric. You've seen some of the European nights. I've got that feeling again. I think we can do. I think we can do the business in Europe.
It's the thing with Rangers. You don't know. We're more than capable in Europe with teams coming up against us. For some reason, there's just a mentality switch where it's almost like the team just kind of. It seems like they just kind of fit in. With the competition.
Look, they rise to the occasion. You know what I mean? They absolutely rise to the occasion. Look, it wasn't perfect the night, far from it. There was a lot of things that were done right, but there was some mistakes made. But I think if we go out at Ibrox, I think the players will feel more comfortable. Again, you're playing at home. You go away in Europe, it's nervy. Benfica dominated most of the ball. We're no used to that. We come to Ibrox, I reckon we'll dominate most of the ball. I mean, look, it's set up for a good night next week. You know, it's brilliant.
Aye, brilliant. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. We both want to hear all your opinions on the game, all your opinions on our opinions. Remember, the BlueSea channel memberships are still a thing. The link to that is in the description next to our socials. We'll see you next time.